All right, yesterday we learned from the speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in 1991. Shalom, good morning. 1991, and in it, the Rebbe talked about what is going to happen when Moshiach comes. And one of the main accomplishments of the Moshiach is that there's going to be a new Torah. Torah is going to be new. So, new Torah, it also means, I'm going to mute, I'm sorry, over here, Dr. Sora. I just want to mute it over because there's background noise over there. If you want to ask any questions, then write a note. And what is it? And then I'll answer after the class. There'll be time for asking questions. Okay, so here we go. Ready? No. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, good. I pressed it. Let's go. So we said there's going to be a new Torah. Okay, don't think that there's going to be a new book or something, because it also says there's going to be a new heavens and a new earth. Shmayim chadashim ve'eretz chadasha. Mashiach comes. So what it means is going to be a new heavens and a new earth. It doesn't mean that the planets are going to reverse their orbits, or there's going to be all of a sudden new comets or UFOs or something like that. Could be there will be UFOs, but that's not what it's talking about. A new heavens and a new earth means that we're going to see the Creator in the creation. Everything's going to be new. Everything's going to be fresh. Everything will be beautiful. Everything will be meaningful. The whole world will be positive. Send us positive messages. Everything. They say, for instance, a very famous story. There was Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was very famous, one of the basically the founder of the Mishnah and the Talmud. It says that he was 40 years old, and he was an ignoramus, and he tried to learn Torah and he just couldn't, and he just didn't understand anything, and he really wanted to learn the Torah. He had a wife that really also believed in him, that he could learn the Torah, and he really wanted to learn the Torah, and he just didn't have any success. And all the people around him were like, holy of holies. These people that are nowadays, they're called, disparagingly, they're called the Pharisees. These people, they had the power to raise the dead. They were tremendously holy geniuses, learning the Torah and everything. He didn't understand nothing, zero. And he went out and sat dejected in the middle of a forest or something, and he heard this dripping sound, and it caught his attention. He was tremendously depressed, and he looked and he saw that there was a water dripping from somewhere on a mountain or something. Dripping. It was dripping on a rock, and it made a hole in this rock. Through the course of time, it made a hole in the rock. So he checked. The rock was a hard rock. So he said, well, if the water through perseverance could make a hole in such a thing as a hard thing as a rock, water is so soft, so for sure the Torah, which is so hard and powerful, can make an impression on something which is so soft like my mind. And so he started to learn, and he became the greatest Talmud scholar of all time, etc. So in other words, he learns some positive message from nature. Well, the fact is, everything in nature is always telling us positive messages. Everything. And in the future, and we're going to see listen, basically, in this world, we don't really know what good is. You know what really good is? There's a few little tiny things that are good that we can experience in this world, but mostly we're just trying to get away from bad, right? Get away from bad. That's why people take drugs and things like that, because they're just trying to get away from depression. But there's a few good things you see. Your family, a baby's eyes, a sunset, a sunrise, the wind in the trees, beautiful music. Once in a while you see something, but we basically don't know what good is. A new heavens and a new earth means that everything is going to be good. We'll see the good in everything. Okay. What does it mean there's going to be a new Torah? So it says one of the things in the new Torah is going to be like the heavens and the earth. It will feel meaning, a new meaning in everything in the Torah. New meaning, new meanings, interpretations, new godliness in the Torah. The commandments will always remain the same. The commandments will never stop, but there'll be new intuitions and insights. Insights into the Torah, that we never knew before. But, says the Rebbe, the fact is there's going to be also changes in the commandments. There'll be changes in the commandments. It says that the certain laws will change. Slaughtering, it says that there's going to be a big fish that's going to called the Leviathan, and it's going to slaughter the big ox, which is called Shorabor, with its fins. Now, slaughtering with fin is not kosher. A fin is serrated. How can it be? So he says, well, the reason is because this new Torah that's going to be, it's not that it wasn't given at Mount Sinai. At Mount Sinai, everything was given. But these new ideas were so deep that only the Mashiach will be able to reveal it. Because when the Torah was given at Mount Sinai, I'm going over this because this we did yesterday. When the Torah was given at Mount Sinai, it was concealed everything that will be given even by means of the Mashiach. But these ideas that Mashiach is going to reveal, they're really very deeply concealed. It says the new ideas that are in the Torah that are revealed now, the rabbis are supposed to sit and learn the Torah and take out the secrets of the Torah, since that we reveal them by means of working our mind and thinking. So therefore, before they were revealed, they were considered they were concealed in the Torah in a way that they were accessible to man. But the new Torah that's going to be given by the Mashiach, these ideas are hidden so deeply that normal people cannot reveal them. Only by means of God himself. Torah Chadash, that's what it says, a new Torah will come from me, me'iti, from me. God is saying, it'll come from me. So and Mashiach will just activate this, and he'll cause God to reveal these new ideas. The ideas are not so what we think. It's not that all of a sudden you don't have to keep Shabbat, you don't have to keep tefillin anymore, you don't have to. No. The new Torah is going to be that it's okay to slaughter, that a fish can slaughter this big ox with its fins. Huh? That's pretty exciting, right? Well, it's exciting. What that? That's the new Torah that Mashiach is going to reveal. It says the point is we don't know what the commandments are now. And we don't know that, we don't, like we just learned in the Kuti Torah, the commandments come from the essence of God. We don't feel that. It says in the future we will feel it, and there'll be also new revelations in the Torah itself. But often shall Naila, that these ideas were totally concealed. It's impossible that any human being can reveal them. Therefore, the revelation in the future will be by means of God himself. This will be a new thing. Torah Chadash, it'll be a new thing. Completely incomparable to the Torah that we have now. Like it says, Torah the Torah that we learn now, this is like wind in compared to the Torah of the Mashiach. Okay, let's go. This is where we got up to yesterday. According to this, we can understand Shit Galut, the Torah Chadasha, that this revelation of the new Torah that's going to come from me by means of Mashiach. Why? Because Mashiach will be a great prophet. And we said that prophecy cannot reveal ideas of the Torah once the Torah was given. That only our wisdom can reveal these ideas, because prophecy is something new. And everything in the Torah, it's already there, it's just been hidden. It says, but nevertheless, these revelations that will come by the prophecy power, prophetic powers of the Mashiach, this is a part of the Torah that was already given Mount Sinai. And the Torah will never change. The Torah is not in heaven. And a prophet cannot make up any new reasons, new laws. Can't be done. A prophet cannot come along and negate a law permanently. You can do it temporarily, but not permanent. Why? Because so if so, there seems to be a contradiction. On one hand, the Torah that was given in Mount Sinai will never be changed. You can't add and you can't subtract. On the other hand, it says the Mashiach is going to come and he is going to add new laws. How can that be? So he says like this: regarding to two ways. First of all, regarding the secrets of the Torah, the Mashiach is going to reveal, and also regarding the new laws or the aspects of the laws, Mashiach is going to reveal. Regarding to the secrets of the Torah, the Mashiach is going to reveal that there's going to be a new Torah that's going to come from me, from God. Me'iti tetzei. Dargat the Torah, also this level of the Torah that cannot be revealed al yedei adam by any minds of people. This part of the Torah that when God gave the Torah, everything is there, it's all hidden. But there's certain things that can't be revealed by humans, only by God. This is shalo be'erech because it's totally incomparable to any human comprehension below. The Torah, even though the Torah is not in heaven, but there it says it's going to be a new Torah. What does it mean, a new Torah? It's going to go out. Not that God is going to give a new Torah. It's just a new Torah is going to come out. It'll be revealed. It will come from heaven. It'll come from being concealed in the Torah to be revealed here on the earth. So that people will be able to understand. We'll have a whole new way of looking at life and reality and the Torah. We can say, going out from heaven, come below on the earth, Mudgesha, distressed, Bizgalos, a Torah Chadasha. This is going to be the idea that the Torah is going to come from the deepest level of concealment, so to speak, from God Himself to be revealed. This is going to be by means of the Mashiach. Why by means of Mashiach? Let God just reveal it Himself. Says no. It goes like this. Even though that the Mashiach is going to be a big prophet, Mashiach also will be tremendously wise, even more than King Solomon, the wisest of all men. Therefore, even though that it's going to be, so to speak, the power of prophecy, that God is going to reveal these new ideas in the Torah, but they're not really new. It's just a novelty that they could be revealed, but they were already there. But therefore, because King Solomon is also because the Mashiach is also going to be more wise than King Solomon, he'll be able to teach this to everyone. Hainu, TORAH Chadash, this whole new idea that will be revealed through the Mashiach by means of like prophecy will be drawn down also into our understanding. And he will teach all of the people, and therefore the Jews will be tremendously wise and they'll know concealed things and grasp the wisdom of God according to the ability of man. This is the language of Maimonides. Even the highest ideas which are concealed in the Torah, Mashiach will make them understandable in human intelligence. So that'll be the deepest secrets will be revealed. Maybe we could take an example. I don't know if this is a good example. We'll take it anyway. Let's say if you would come 200 years ago, someone would come with a computer, a laptop, and he would stand in front of, the biggest geniuses of the time. Isaac Newton was like 400 years ago, right? 400, 300. Anyway, you get all the geniuses that were of all times, and he's sitting there with a laptop, and he says, see this little thing, it's big, it's a bigger genius than any of you. Ask a question. No, what was the name of the third ruler of the Qin dynasty? What's her name is? Kwam Bandong. Wow, how could he know that? Okay, what is the sixth note in the fourth movement of Rachmaninoff's Third Symphony? Just one second. C flat. Wow, how does he know? It's on this book. That doesn't make any sense. How could this little thing have all this knowledge? Where does it come from? How did you store it in there? They can't possibly imagine how it could possibly be. It's not in human intelligence, right? So you explain it to them. You can explain it to them. Listen, there's a thing which is called this. Anyway, computer science, which I don't understand at all. You explain it to them, then they can understand it. To these people, it's like Where'd you get these ideas from? How did you get so much knowledge from, right? It's totally incomprehensible. Something like that. I mean, I'm sorry to give such a mundane example, will be with the Torah, our minds, how our minds work. When Mashiach comes, Mashiach will explain ideas of the Torah to us, ideas, awareness of God that's in every single letter and word of the Torah in a whole new way that we didn't understand before. Just like in the world, every stone will cry out, I'm a creator, and have a lesson. How much more so, infinitely more so, every word and idea in the Torah will come up. But this is a thing that has to be revealed by God himself. And he's going to do it through the Mashiach. Why Mashiach? Because Mashiach is also going to be very wise. And Mashiach will be able to take these revelations and put them into our understanding so we can understand and utilize it. Right? Take these principles of whatever and make it into, in our example, make it into a computer that you can actually use. Bait. But what about the laws of the Torah? It says that it'll be permissible to slaughter this ox with the fins of a fish, which now is forbidden to do. Maybe we can say like this, that this novelty that there'll be in the laws of slaughtering of the Tanya, they weren't really said on this type of shechita. In other words, in fact, there won't be really new laws. There won't be a Torah Chadasha. There won't be any new laws. That this is a whole type of weird slaughtering of this big ox, whatever it is, and the big fish. Who knows what this is? And this is an exception. With exceptions, you can have exceptional laws. The Mashiach will come and he'll answer that question. Is it permissible for me to eat, for everyone to eat this fish? Look at this. It says the fish, the awareness of this fish, Leviathan, is going to give a new awareness of God. In any case, it's going to be a real fish. Can we eat this fish? Fish, no problem. What about the meat? A little bit of a problem. It was slaughtered improperly. Let's ask the Mashiach. Mashiach, yeah, this is okay. In this instance, it's okay. So Mashiach, therefore, he won't really make up any new laws. He'll just reveal laws in relation to new situations. Let's explain this. This whole idea of slaughtering, this is only a temporary thing. It's not going to be, again, this big ox and this big fish. This is not really a new Torah, because the rabbis, they learned from Mipi Hashemua, Bakal Im Yomar Lecha Anavi Avor Al Divrei Torah Shmalo. It says that there's a law that if a prophet comes along and tells the Jewish people to transgress some law of the Torah temporarily, if you're sure this person is a prophet and he's only saying temporarily, then you have to do it. Except one exception, idolatry. Idolatry, you're not allowed to listen to a prophet. If a prophet comes along and says, worship me, just for 1 minute, kill him. Idolatry, you can't. That's a false prophet. If a prophet comes along and says, everybody eat pork, so who is that? It's Jeremiah the prophet. Oh, wow. Jeremiah the prophet, eat pork, but it's forbidden to eat pork. I'm telling you just the one time to do it. If a prophet really does say anything like that, then you have to do it, except for idolatry. This is only if it's temporary. A prophet is a different type of a person than everybody else. We could say that this, if so, maybe this idea of the slaughtering of this big ox with the fins, it was just a temporary thing. It was a one-time thing, so you have to listen to it. But we can also say, no, maybe not. Maybe this slaughtering of this ox with the fins, it's not just a temporary thing, but maybe it is a whole new law in the Torah. Shedini Shechita, that the laws of the Torah were not said on this situation. It's a permanent thing. Any time that there is this big ox and the fish, is it's permissible to slaughter the ox with this fish every time, not just temporary. Anytime this situation comes up, is permissible. Well, there's also other things, like it says the Rogachover. There's also times that are, for instance, Eliyahu is Elijah, right? Elijah, right? On Mount Carmel. That Elijah on Mount Carmel, he told the people that they should make an offering. Now, the fact of the matter is after the temple was built, and Elijah came like 100, 200 years after the temple was built, as you're not allowed to make sacrifices outside of the temple. So how could he make this sacrifices on Mount Carmel? You remember the story with the worshipers of the Baal. There was hundreds of them, and they made their offering, and he made his offering. He was alone, and fire came from heaven on his offering. How could he make offerings outside? He says, because it was a temporary thing. It was only temporary. The novelty is ein alav shem shchute chutz klal. The novelty is not just that you could do it, that it was a valid sacrifice. Sacrifices were only allowed to be made in the temple. But because Elijah the prophet told everyone to do it, so this is not saying that from now on you can slaughter outside. It was saying that this one time it was okay to slaughter outside, and the sacrifice could even be eaten. It was a valid sacrifice. Because this whole idea of forbidden sacrifices outside of the temple, didn't apply to this unusual case. The same thing is also with the fins of the fish to slaughter the ox. Okay, why would Moshiach be so concerned with these seemingly unimportant things? I mean, Moshiach is supposed to, change the whole world. There's going to be world peace and health and prosperity and wisdom. What do we care about? Who slaughters this fish? Slaughters with a saw. You slaughter the ox with a gun. Who cares how you kill it? That's so important. Says the Rebbe. We're talking about the Torah, and the Torah is the source of all reality. You don't believe it? You got ample reason not to believe it. There's no indication, scientific, philosophical, or any way that the Torah creates reality. The reality depends on the Torah. But that's the fact it does. And that's what the Mashiach is going to reveal. And not only that, he's going to reveal new ideas in the Torah. Even though this novelty that you can slaughter an ox with a knife that's not straight. Presently, this is forbidden, and Mashiach is going to say that it's going to be permissible in this one instance with this shor habor. And even though this is a law which no pupil can learn this according to any of the principles that the Torah is learned from, because God gave the Torah, he gave it purposely, a lot of it confused, unclear, so that we'll have the commandment of learning the Torah, coming to the conclusion. Well, this law about the slaughtering of the ox, etc., you can't come to this conclusion on your own. Only God himself can reveal that this is permissible. According to the laws of the Torah, it's forbidden. You can't slaughter an animal with a knife that's not totally straight and smooth. It says, but even though that this new idea will be revealed in slaughtering this ox, it'll be revealed by God himself. But nevertheless, this is not in the category of that the Torah was given on Mount Sinai and now it's in our hands and it is not in heaven. Why? Because the Melech HaMashiach, that he's going to be a tremendously wise, even more than King Solomon, he'll explain all of these new ideas of the Torah in the Beit Din HaGadol Yerushalayim. There will be, when Mashiach comes, the Holy Temple will be built. That's one of the first things Mashiach is going to do. He'll get rid of all our enemies and he'll build the Holy Temple. According to many opinions, the Holy Temple is going to come from heaven. There's a Rashi, there's the Tosfot, there's also in Kabbalah is written that it's Mikdash Hashem Konani Yadecha, that the temple will fall from heaven. However it's going to be, he's going to build it in a very short amount of time, the Mashiach. According to some opinions, less than 24 minutes. And then he's going to establish what's called the Sanhedrin, the high court. right? There was a high court over there in Jerusalem in a way that it will be accepted. 71 wise men will all accept. He'll explain to them these new laws that he gives in a way that will be accepted by their intelligence. He's not just going to come and say, this is the law. He's going to explain it to everyone. The cave and since Sheim Ikar Torah Shabal Peh, since that the men of the high court, Sanhedrin, they are the source of what's called the explanation of the Torah, the oral Torah. They are the pillars of law, and from them come all the directives and the statutes for all the Jewish people. So therefore, that's going to be this new Torah that the Moshiach is going to reveal that can't be revealed by human beings. It's hidden so deeply in the Torah that God gave at Mount Sinai. But because Moshiach will explain it, so therefore this will be things which are learned according to logic, things which will be acceptable to human understanding, that by means of the principles that the Torah is learned by. So everyone will see that this is the law and that it's true. So if so, what are we going to have? The new Torah. The new Torah is going to be pure godliness, the things only God could reveal, but it's going to be also understandable. A tremendous miracle. The pure godliness will be revealed not just in the world, not just in the Torah, but in our brains. Right? Like I say, our brains only reveal 1%. We only use 1% of our intelligence in our brain. Well, Mashiach is going to show that we only use 1,000% of our brain, and we use 1,000,000% of our soul. So our minds will open up. The novelty which will be revealed in the secrets of the Torah, and the novelty which will be revealed in the laws of the Torah, namely that this ox can be slaughtered by the Leviathan as fins. These are two meanings, two aspects of what it means. There's going to be a new Torah, new insights into the Torah, new spiritual insights, and new actual laws. So we can see that there's a big connection between them. Namely, that the connection in the laws of the Torah is also, it comes as a result because of the new secrets and mysteries of the Torah that will be revealed. Want to understand this? Tomorrow. I guess we can do one more. Let's just do, here's it. Okay. This is very short, but we'll go up to Zion. The Mashiach is going to come and he's going to reveal new laws. Why is this new law, revealed in this bizarre instance, this bizarre occurrence of slaughtering this big ox, Shorabor, with the fins of the Leviathan, of this big fish? How is that connected to anything, to Judaism, to logic, to this, to the laws of the Torah, and especially to the mysteries of the Torah? And therefore, this novelty will revealed, this novelty of the new Torah will be revealed, and the new reasons of the Torah will be revealed through this weird instance of the fish slaughtering this ox. What is this fish and what is the ox and that's all that we're waiting for? Mashiach is going to come with a new Torah and explain that it's okay to eat the ox that was slaughtered by the fish. This is really so important. To us, it's not important. It should be important, and we're going to see why. And this is going to make us very happy, hopefully. Let's learn that Yom Yom. Today's Yom Yom. One moment, please. One moment. And then I'll take questions. If you want questions, we'll take questions. Here we go. Oh. The beginning of one's decline is the lack of service in prayer. Okay, what's this mean? Let's say a person, there's a normal person, and then there's a person that's below normal. Below normal. They say he descended into the world of crime. He descended into addiction. Descent. To be attached and aware of God, true values, your conscience, right? Let's take an example. A person lives according to his conscience. No, you live according to your conscience. This is a very, what I call it, a high person. A person that doesn't care about his conscience, right? He doesn't care about his conscience. He gets addicted to whatever it is, and he's willing to kill his mother and father for, what do you have to be killing is bad. Your father and mother is bad. Yeah, but the drugs are good. That's called decline. He's gone down from humanness and he's descending to be like an animal or to be a plant. That's called a decline. The beginning of a person's decline of descent from believing and being connected to the Creator, to just being selfish. Where does it start for a chassid, is lack of working in prayer. Now, the whole idea of prayer, we could take a long time talking about this, but the word of avoda means to change yourself. And prayer in the morning, when we pray to God, we're supposed to pray from our heart. Prayer is called the service of the heart. So first of all, you have to understand all the words, what you're saying, and then you have to link them to reality. And then you have to realize that your whole life and your whole being and depends on being connected to God. And that's really what makes you human, is being connected to God. God is the creator. God is good, true values, truth, to be connected to truth. Oh, that's a good way to say it. Connected to truth. The way to being connected to truth is not just a logical thing. Truth is also an emotional thing. It's very possible for a person to, right here we have the Germans, just right 70, 80 years ago, they had the most beautiful ideas in values and in philosophy and everything, and they were just the biggest animals. No animal could do what they did. Why? Because their hearts were not connected to the teachings that they taught. They taught these beautiful ideas about love and value and kindness and everything like that, and honesty, but their hearts were black, raw, evil, crooked. How do you fix up your heart, a crooked heart? How? By enlightening it with thinking about God. That's called avoda. Avoda means changing your heart. When a person doesn't have any heart, namely loving God, appreciating God, getting excited about God in prayer, then everything becomes dry and cold. Even the commandments you do become habitual. It becomes like a big burden. Everything is rushed. You can't wait to get away from Torah and the commandments. There's no pleasure in learning the Torah. Even the atmosphere where you are, it becomes boring. Of course, a person certainly has no ability to influence others in a good way. Have a good day with Moshiach now. See you today, God willing, at 3 o'clock.